sanctuaries. As well as the sanctuaries, killing or capturing of many animals is prohibited in a necessary sanctuaries. Prohibited is prohibited in an sanctuary. In that particular sanctuary, the killing and the capturing of the animals. Capturing of the animals will be prohibited. The Indian Board of Wildlife Science has been established. The Indian, what is that? The Indian Board of Wildlife has been established in the year 1952 and started the awareness programs to educate the people the important places conserving the wildlife. So the particular wildlife, the board of wildlife, so one particular board will be formed in the year of 1952 to conserve the wildlife, as well as at the time in the 1952 to 1953, only in between that 2 3 years they are going to create the awareness about the people, sorry, awareness about the wildlife and what is the importance of the wildlife to our ecology. Okay, they are going to create the awareness, and to they are ready to educate the people at that time only. Okay, the important places conserving of the wildlife are one horn rhinoceros. So ఒంటి కొమ్ము ఖడ్గమృగం అంటారు తెలుగులో. సో the one horn rhinoceros, the wild buffaloes. So the wild buffaloes and Calamaneru bird sanctuary for the pelicans and the marine birds in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, in Andhra Pradesh, Gir forest in Gujarat for lions, cheetahs and sambas and the wildlife bears. The elephant and guard deer and the sambar etc. they are conserved by there. The Periyar sanctuary in Kerala, Bitter Kanika National Park in Kutaka Cuttack district helps in the preserving the mangroves and their associated fauna. So there are the many more established in other states of India. So many other sanctuaries and so many other national parks are there to conserve a wildlife. Our national animal is tiger. Our national bird is the peacock. All of us know this very well. Okay, and the national flower is the lotus for conserving the dwindling tiger population. And the project Tiger was established and initiated in the 1973. In the 1973 only, they invented one project to conserve our national animal, that is a tiger, in the year of the 1973, and the population went up to 4,000 and above. So the population now, the tiger population is now only 4,000 only and above. Okay, this is about that wildlife. Shall I repeat this one time? In view of the threatened animal species, in our government is taking a necessary action to conserve the wildlife by creating the national parks and the sanctuaries. Killing or capturing of any animal in that particular national parks or sanctuary is strictly prohibited. Yes, the Indian board in 1952, the Indian government is ready to formed a one board to conserve the wildlife which is present in our India. That is nothing but the India Board of Wildlife. It is created in the year 1952, and in the 19 between the year of 1952 to 1955, between the 3 years, they are going to educate the people. They are going to aware the people about the wildlife importance and how we are going to conserve that wildlife. Okay, the important places conserving the wildlife. So some important places are there in our India for the threatened species. Okay, in that first one is the one horn rhinoceros, wildlife one horn rhinoceros and the wild buffalo sanctuary, which is located in the Assam. In that particular sanctuary, they are going to mainly concentrated on one horn rhinoceros and as well as the wild buffaloes. Kamaleru bird sanctuary for the pelicans and the marine birds in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, Gir forest in Gujarat for lions, cheetahs, sambars and the wildlife bears. These are the four main animal species. They are going to take the shelter, say very safe shelter for their reproduction, for their safety and all. That is nothing but Gir forest in Gujarat. Okay, elephant, gar, deer, sambasar, etc. in Periyar sanctuary in Kerala. Bitter Kanika National Park in Kutaka district helped in preserving the mangroves and their associated fauna. Okay, these are the most important sanctuaries which is located. These are some of the. This is only a few number of the sanctuaries I mentioned here. So, n number of the sanctuaries, n number of the national parks are they are supporting the wildlife in very well done, very well done. They are so these are the some I mentioned here only some importance and some wildlife sanctuaries which can protect the main threatened species. Okay, there are many more distributed in other states of India. The okay, our national animal tiger, national bird peacock, national flower lotus. Okay, so we are going to conserve on that. In 1973, the government of India took one project to increase the population of the tigers. That is nothing but drilling the population of the tiger to conserve the tiger population. It can increase the tiger population up to 4,000 and above. Okay, this is all about the wildlife. Then coming to the next one, the water resources. Okay, the water resource, all through 2 by 3% of the earth is covered with the water. That's why our earth is called as the blue planet. Why? Because it is called as the blue planet. When we are going to observe our earth from the space, then how it will looks means it is a blue colored. It is in a blue colored look. Why it is looking blue colored means 2-3% of the earth is covered with the water. So here some people have wondered here, water is there any color? No, the water don't have the any color. It can reflect the color of the sky. That's why the our planet is a look like a blue color. That's why our earth is called as a blue planet. Okay, the all through the 2 by 3 of the earth is covered with the water. There is always a scarcity of fresh water. Yes, 2 by 3% of the water is there. That is not the fresh water. Okay, fresh water. As such, the management of water resources are the very important. Yes, in the summer season, in the coming few months, not in the few months, in coming 1 or 2 months, the water we are going to face the severe water scarcity in and around Hyderabad. Okay, then that's why we are going to follow some water management, water resource techniques to improve the water level. Okay, groundwater level. There are a serious attempts are now being to made to conserve the or retain the store of surplus water, so that water is the available in times of need. So we are going to follow some steps before we are going to before we are going to face the critical water crisis. Okay, food waters should be controlled. The food water should be controlled, and the water tables must be maintained at a proper level in the view of impending the water storage. The many projects are conserve and store water have been taken up. For the conservation of the water, some projects will taken up. That particular projects have the capacity to fulfill the our ground layers of the earth with the water, and it can supply the water in and around all the water, the agricultural places, agricultural fields and the villages which are surrounded by that particular projects. So many to conserve the store of the water have been taken up. The following few important projects, here I am going to mention a few important water projects which are built in our India. Okay, in our India. First one is the Kosi project in Bihar. Kosi project in Bihar. Second one is the Gandak project in Bihar. Kosi project is also Bihar, and Gandak project is also a Bihar. Nagarjuna Sagar Dam in Andhra Pradesh. Tungabhadra project in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, and Malaprabha project in Karnataka. Malaprabha project also in Karnataka, and Bakranangal project in Punjab. Hirakudu Dam, Orissa. Rajasthan Canal Project in Rajasthan, and so on. These are the 10 important water resources. Water To reserve the water, the government take one step that is a very successful step. It is very helpful. It is worked through that three main 10 water projects. In that, first one is the Kosi, two from Bihar and two from Andhra Pradesh, two from Karnataka, one from Punjab, one from Orissa, and one from Rajasthan. These are the 10 main projects, and so many number are there, but these are the 10 are the most important things. Okay, it's most important things. I want to repeat the project names once again. In that, first one is the Kosi project in Bihar, Gandak project in Bihar. Both these two projects are in Bihar. Nagarjuna Sagar Dam and Tungabhadra project. Nagarjuna Sagar is fully located in Andhra Pradesh. Tungabhadra project is the uh, located in Andhra Pradesh as well as the Karnataka. It gives its benefits. It benefits in Tunga for Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka also. Okay, and Malaprabha project in Karnataka, it is purely belongs to Karnataka. And Bakranangal project in Punjab, Hirakudu Dam in Orissa, Rajasthan Canal project in Rajasthan, and so on. These are the most important water resource projects. For example, the Rajasthan Canal project is boon to broad ridden Rajasthan. So, it can give the particular the Rajasthan Canal project. It gave the life to the Rajasthan lands. The barren lands can become into a ridden lands. Ridden land is nothing but somewhat hope will be there. Somewhat hope will be there. It is expected to provide the water for irrigating 11.6 lakhs of hectares in three districts. Bakranangal. So, in three districts, totally 11.6 lakh hectares of the land will become some wet, and also the particular 1.11.6 lakhs hectares of the land come under irrigation at any season in Rajasthan due to the Rajasthan Canal project. Okay, then Bakranangal project is a joint venture of Punjab and Haryana and Rajasthan. So Bakranangal project is the joint venture for the three states Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan. This happened to be a biggest valley project. These are the biggest valley projects connecting of 226 million high dam at Bakra. It connecting the 226 meters 226 226 meters high dam at Bakra. Bakra is the place which is located in that which is it is located in that Punjab. That's why that particular dam is named as a Bakra Nangal project. Okay, Bakra 29 meters high Nangal dam and 1,000 kilometers length of canals helping the irrigate the 20 lakh hectares. So 20 lakh hectares um, enjoying the fruit fields of this particular Bakranangal project in and around Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan, including Rajasthan. Three states will enjoy the fruit fields of the particular Bakranangal Dam. Bakranangal Dam. The water problem is important. A water problem is the most important, a severe dot problem. Just a minute. Okay, coming back. For example, the Sacred River Ganga is a highly polluted river. The former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi launched the Ganga action plans to clear the polluted waters. So Ganga, to clear the Ganga river, to clear the to clear the river Ganga, the former Prime Minister, the Rajiv Gandhi launched the one project that is named as Ganga Action Plan. It is mainly the main aim of the Ganga Action Plan is to clear the Ganga River to create the free Ganga River from the polluted ones. Okay, the many industries have been polluting the river under the direction of the Supreme Court in 1983. In the year of the 1983, with the directions of the Supreme Court, a few industries are responsible for the pollution were prosecuted. Even the electric materia were erected. The total estimated for the project is about 2000 crore rupees. 2000 crore rupees is the estimated budget for to clean the Ganga river, not only Ganga river, along with the other small rivers also. Okay, the sea water is a saline water, all of us know. Okay, salty, which is available abundantly. Sea water is also need to be managed because of its pollution. Nowadays the seas are the very polluted. Okay, in Bhavananagar, Gujarat, the fresh water is being obtained from the seawater by desalination using the solar energy for the distillation. Okay, na? By using the solar energy, they are going to desalinated the salt compounds which are present in that sea water, that can be reduced and desalinated. The salt water, the sea water is become into a fresh water. Okay, this is cheap. The oceans are considered as the non-renewable resources. In oceans, the natural oils and the gas deposits are also found. The minerals cobalt, copper, iron, manganese and nickel are being exploited from seabed. So monazite used in atomic energy production. Gold and platinum deposits have been discovered from the sea sands or the sea beds. So okay, for the converting of the sea water to fresh water, desalination is the process. Okay, that is well and good by using the solar energy, but this is also cheap. Okay, then we are going to convert the all the seawater into fresh water. Then what will happen? The oceans are under the list of the non-renewable resources. We are not going to create the oceans again and again. Okay, and also the particular ocean is the source. A particular ocean is the mother to so many minerals and so many so many minerals and so many metals. So for example, cobalt, copper, iron, manganese, nickel are being exported from the see, all these minerals are which is present, and a lot of number of flora and fauna are different varieties of fishes, plants. So many wonders are there in that seabed, in that sea bed. That's why the government is not giving any permissions and to convert the sea water into a fresh water. When it will happen means, then what will happen? The oceans also under the threatened condition. That's why the gold and platinum deposits have been discovered. So many gold is there, so many platinum is, these are the most expensive metals which are present in the seabed. Then just we are going to conserve the oceans. We are not going to desalination that salinated water into fresh water. Just we want the oceans. Our oceans is the back and our ocean is the polluted free oceans. Okay, the next one is the water resources which are generally renewable occur mainly a salt water 97.3 and the fresh water is only 2.7 percentage. So that's why we are going to face the scarcity of the fresh water. The fresh water occur in frozen form 77.2%. What are the Arctic and Antarctica regions? What are the melting ice? What are the Himalayas? All that have the up to 77.2% of the fresh water. As groundwater is only 22.4% in the lakes and wetlands. Okay, and the lakes and wetlands 0.35%, and the rivers and streams having the only 0.1% of the fresh water as given in the world resources basic on the basic books in the New York. It will take the all the measures and all the percentages which are we can take from that one book, that is nothing but basic water resources book, which is available in the New York. It is published in the 1986. The person need about 2.7 liters of water per day. Okay, even then there is a not enough supply of drinking water in villages. In some states the groundwater availability is not adequate, so the for drinking water is not available in some villages. In Andhra Pradesh also some villages can face the too much and very severe water scarcity in summers. Okay, in some other states also the groundwater table will be very low. Such there is a regular recurrence of drought. So all these are signs to can indicate that in the few days, in the few span of within the little span of the time, we are going to face the drought. However, our flowing, so not flowering, our flowing rivers like Ganga, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, Narmada, Brahmaputra serve the 80% of our total population. So, without rivers, without a human, without rivers, we are not having any life. Okay, that's why we are going to put your hands together to pray our rivers Ganga, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and Mahanadi to give the 80%. It can fulfill the 80% of our water needs, total population. Okay, in the total population. Okay, in 1987 one famous scientist he discovered that his name is Sharma. He observed that 92% of the water is utilized for the irrigation. 92% of the water is used for the fields for the water irrigation, and 8% of the domestic and industrial use. Only 1.4% of the availability of the groundwater potential is being used. There is a urgent necessary to apply the improved technology to increase the water storage capacity and the groundwater utilizations. So there is the urgent necessity and urgent emergency need to recharge our groundwater tables. Okay, through recharge pits. Recharge pits are the most important thing to recharge our groundwater table. Then coming to the last, then coming now, this is not last one. Coming to that next topic, that is nothing but the energy or resources. So energy resources are petrol, natural gas, and the coal are considered as a non-renewable resources. Okay, they are environment. They cause the environmental pollution. Yes, when we are going to use the petrol, it can release the carbon dioxide and sulfurs. When we are going to use the natural gas, it also give the pollutants. When we are going to burn the coal, it also give the pollutant as sulfurs and nitrogens along at all. So all these are the non-renewable resources, but this can cause the environmental pollution. This is the truth. Okay, when they are burned, also they are exploited so much they may not be available after few decades. When we are going to use in exploiting range in the for future generation, they don't know what is petrol, what is natural gas and what is coal. They don't have any idea, and also they don't have the chance to see that particular non-renewable things. That's why we are going to use the all the natural resources very sustainability. Therefore, the alternative resources of energy has to play the a major role. So, every non-renewable resource is the most important. It is a necessary and emergency steps we are step to took in this present situation. We are going to use the every non-renewable resources as in the sustainable manner. All of okay all all life on this the planet is depend on sun energy. Plants are capable of capturing the sun energy during the photosynthesis synthesis activity and the produce the food for all other living organisms. Yes, the including man. Yes, okay, including man. That's why the plants are called as the uh, The primary producers. Why plants are called as the primary producers means when that particular plant can absorb the sunlight, then can perform the photosynthesis with the help of the oxygen, with the help of the water, with the help of the water and carbon dioxide, it can release the oxygen and also it prepare the food. We are directly or indirectly depend on that plants for their food, medicine, shelter and everything. Okay. The petrol, coal and the natural gas are all in relatively come from the sun energy. The vegetation from forest a 1 million years of ago gets decomposed and converted into a petrol coal under get great pressure and temperature. Under the great pressure and temperature in the million kilometers depth of the earth. So it is nearly crust and core region. In the crust and core region, under the million years of great pressure and temperature, what are the residues of the plants, animals, and other things that can be converted into a petrol and other resources? What we are enjoying today. Okay, our new technology exploits the solar energy for cooking and generating electricity. Photovoltaic cells helps in the converting solar energy into electricity. Photovoltaic cells are the important cells to convert the solar energy into electricity. Gradually, solar cars may replace the cars running with the petrol power. So, solar cars will be replaced by the natural. What are the petrol cars? It is a very good sign to conserve our environment. Okay, the energy from the tidal waves. Next one is the tidal energy is nothing. The tidal energy is also called as the wind energy. So the wind energy, the waves also contributes in generating the electricity. The windmills are very common in hormones and become the popular now in India. Yes, in our India also concentrated on that wind energy in Rayalaseema. And what are the Seshachalam hills? Tirumala Tirupati hills. In the Seshachalam hills, they are going to build that. They are going to build the hill stations, by windmills and wind station to produce the electricity. Okay, you can see a few windmills on Tirumala Hills in Andhra Pradesh. Yes, few mills in Andhra Pradesh. Biogas utilizing the cow dung along with the some plant substitutes is a immense use for the cooking and also for the generating the electricity. Yes, by using the cow dung and some other substances, the household substance, onion peels, vegetable peels, what are the cooking waste, or by with the help of the all the cooking vegetable waste and as well as the cow dung, they also have the capacity to chance, that is not the capacity, they have the chance to convert the have the chance to generate the electricity. There are a few villages in India, particularly in Maharashtra, that do give their energy for cooking and the electricity from the community biogas generators. With the help of the biogas generators, they are going to give the that one. This is the a kind of renewable energy source, as million of cattle give a needed the cow dung and the plant residues help to supplement the water hyacinth and banana shoot systems. Banana shoot system and water hyacinth plants residues are the very useful and very efficient to convert the particular cow dung into electrical energy. In Maharashtra, it is already implemented. It is very successful project. Okay, the most important renewable energy is the fuel wood, and our villages need 130 million tons of firewood. So still the date, our India needs the 130 million tons of the firewood. The demand by increasing to it can be decreased in present situations. End of the century, the forestry and social forestry help us to meet the demand. So social forestry and the forest can help us to meet that particular demand of the firewood. Okay, then coming to the next one, population pollution ecology. Coming to the next one is nothing but a pollution ecology. What is the pollution ecology? In previous chapters, we have learned about the air, water, soil, noise pollution, and all. Yes. Since the causes are clearly understood, what are the causes, what are the sources, how that particular pollutions will damage our ecosystem, will damage our human body, and all we discussed in that previous chapters. And we know about and we have the some idea about how to control the pollutants, and by following the easy steps. Okay. However, the nuclear waste has proved to be the most dangerous pollutant. Yes. What is that nuclear waste is that proved as the most dangerous pollutant. It is mentioned in the Times of India in October 1988. What they mention means, what are the waste which is come from after the nuclear activity, after the experiment of nuclear projects, that waste is the most dangerous pollutant, that the thousands of Americans may be affected with the cancer due to the release of radioactive particles into the air. So it is a very dangerous. Here I am going to explain one example. In the year of the 1991, the Americans are directly exposed to the radioactive particles. It can cause the cancer for the thousand of people. Why? Because means they are directly exposed to radioactive pollutants. Our DNA will be damaged very frequently when we are going to face that particular nuclear pollutant, and that particular nuclear pollutant can directly enter into our air, that through that air directly enter into our lungs. It mainly cause that a lung cancer due to the dumping of water into the leaking pits. So how that particular nuclear pollutant can enter into American's body means, that can mix with the water as well as that can mix with the air. By the ways of the water, by the way of the air, the particular nuclear pollutant can enter into that particular human bodies. It can destroy the, and it can disturb the structure, and what is the metabolic activities of the DNA, it can be disturbed by that one. Then finally it can cause the cancer. Okay, this is all about the pollution ecology. Then coming to next one, that population ecology. So the world human population is estimated to reach 8 million. Okay, it going to reach the it going to okay, it going to reach the 12 million by 2030. 12 million by 2030. 12 million people, sorry, 12 billion. 12 billion. The harmful effects of the such huge population on the ecosystem are visible to us. Therefore, the voluntary family planning seems to be is the best solution. So family planning is the best solution to control the population. Some many developed countries maintain the 0% growth in population, while the developing the countries doubling their populations. For the instance, in India, the population was 40 crores at the time of the independence, and it is already a double. It is not a double, it already a triple. Okay. As such, an enormous population is responsible for the excessive utilization of the natural resources. It can lead the poverty, it can create the diseases and the unemployment. The survival of making depends on us only. So we protect the nature, it will be definitely help us to survive. When we are going to protect the nature, definitely that nature will help us to survive. Okay, and applied ecology helps in the environmental protection and maintenance of the natural balance. So applied ecology is the most important thing to understand the what is environmental pollution and protection, what is environmental pollution, and also what is environmental protection. We are going to have the idea about the environmental pollution and environmental protection, while we are having some idea on environmental ecology, and it also helps in maintenance of the natural balance. This is all about that wait this is all about that applied ecology. Okay, then up to this one, up to applied ecology, the block 2 is completed. The block 2 was completed. So in that block 2, the name of the block 2 is the environmental pollution. In that block 2, we are going to deal with that air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, and applied ecology. Okay, these all are about that environmental pollution. Then coming to the block 3, then coming to that block 3, environmental psychology. Environmental psychology. What is environmental psychology? Yes, come on. Just we are going to discuss what is that environmental psychology. Just give me a minute. Yes. Yes. In that environmental psychology, we are going to deal with three main units. In that first unit is the biological response to osmotic conditions. Okay. Then next unit, temperature as environmental factor. Temperature as the environmental factor. And the last one is response to carbon dioxide and oxygen. These are the three main units we are going to cover under that environmental psychology. Then coming to the next one, environmental psychology. Okay, environmental psychology. Coming to that environmental psychology, in this environmental psychology we are going to deal with that what are the objectives, introduction about that environmental psychology, salt and water balance, salt and water balance in the desert arthropods, and how water loss, regulations, and psychological adaptants. Okay, psychological adaptations for water loss in the insects and some arthropods. These are the some topics we are going to discuss. Okay, biological response to osmotic conditions. Salt and water balance. Okay, salt and water balance in desert arthropods. In desert arthropods, how that particular arthropods can manage that water scarcity in their bodies, as well as the salts which are present in their bodies. Okay, much of research work was done on the zirec insects and the other arthropods as they live under conditions which as physically as a strained as those living in the desert environment. So what are the insects and what are the arthropods which are living in that particular desert environment? Okay, uh, on that particular insects, so many research work is a research work has been done, so many research work was done on that particular desert animals. The psychological adaptations and the similar in desert and the xeric animals. So xeric animals, the problem of desert arthropods. So what are the problems that particular desert arthropods can face? Okay, a continual water loss as a result of transpiration through the general uh, critical surface, so general critical situations. So continuous water loss. Why? Because in the desert region the temperatures are the very high. When the temperatures are the very high, the water amount which is present in our body, that can be evaporated and transpirated. Okay, to maintain our body coolness. The transpiration associated with the respiratory changes. Yes, transpiration is associated with the respiratory changes. The water loss in excreta. So the water is excreted as a urine also. Urine and sweat also. So the water loss is restricted by the position of a highly implemented crucial, which is also a reduce the respiratory loss of water. When that particular water can be lost, the respiratory system will also be damaged. The crucial generally covered by a monolayer of a wax. How that particular insects can manage, how the particular insects can manage the critical conditions means a mono layer of the wax will cover the the upper layer, upper body parts of the insects, upper body parts of the insects, to prevent the water loss, to prevent the water loss, because they have the large ratio of surface volume. That's why the particular insects have the very large ratio of the surface by volume. Why? Because the particular arthropods having the one mono layer of the wax on their body surface, to protect the water loss, to protect them from that water loss. Okay, then next one is the, in case of insects, the spiracle open into the subelectrical space, which is effectively function to reduce the transpiration. Hence, the water loss is very less. The process is referred as the a thermal disorientation. So when that particular monovax layer, when the particularly the presence of the monovax layer, the water loss is very less, then that particular condition is referred as a thermal disorientation. The thermal disorientation is the one process, it is the most important beautiful process to control the water loss in the arthropods which are living in that particular desert region. One type of the monovax layer will cover the surface of the a particular animals to control the water loss. Okay, not a loss, it is a loss, LOSS, loss. Coming to the next one, the regulation and the psychological adaptation for water loss in insects and the some arthropods. Coming to the next, some other animals. What are the arthropods? Usually, the control of the water loss is brought about by the reduction of rate of amplitude of earthly movement. Okay, so when we are going to save the water, just we are going to do the less work. So when the movements will be reduced in our body, the uses of the water, the uses of the energy will be also reduced. It can be stored. Okay, the presence of waterproof wax layer in a epicute, a classical, a thermal disorientation, recycling of the metabolic wastewater by a rectal absorption. So when that particular wastewater can produce, that particular insect body can be reabsorbed by the rectal uh, rectal absorption, reabsorbed. The particular wastewater can be reabsorbed, that is called as a rectal absorption. Rectal absorption is nothing but it's already a wastewater, it can be recycled again and again. Okay, the water balance during the flight, many of those flying insects, in the flying insects, many of these flying insects fly in the higher cooler air to conserve the water. So what are the honey bees, battle bees, some other bees are there na, that can be fly in the high cooler air to control the water loss, to save the water. In the higher altitude area, the RH, the relative humidity will be high. So in the higher area, in that high area, when that particular height will be increases, then what will happen? The relative humidity will be high. At that same time, the temperature also would be less as compared to the temperature on the ground level. And at the same time, what is the temperature at that high level is the very low when compared to the ground level. Okay, the pumping action of the thorax causes the water loss. So thorax is the some body part in that particular insect that can be a reduced the it can pump the less amount of water, it can reduce the loss of the water. Okay, now uptake of water vapor from sun saturated atmosphere, the grasshopper Cractoba peristruvana as the true desert species and also a cockroach have ability to take the water vapor from high humidity ranges. So the grasshopper, one species of the grasshopper and one species of the cockroach which are living in the desert region have the capacity to absorb the water vapor from the high humidity ranges also. This is a very interesting adoption in the case of the desert insect. Yes, it is the most important and interesting one in the desert insects. The molting of the animals has the ability of the absorption of water. If the integument is damaged, the absorption capacity is lost. This clearly shows the molting of the animals contribute the capacity. So Intimity means what is the some type of the wax which is released by the some insect. If that particular organs, what are the organs which help to insect that particular wax, that can be damaged, then what will happen? They have the capacity to control the water loss. Okay, the role of a hemophily rectum and Malpighian tubes in ionic regulations and solute the reabsorptions. Okay, this is all about the adoption of adaptions of the desert arthropods to manage the salt and water balance in that particular hot climate conditions. Then coming to the amphibians, the amphibians. Okay, the amphibians show the three important adaptations. The amphibians can show the three important adaptations are the behavioral adaptation to avoid the extreme conditions, some behavioral adaptations to adapt the extreme conditions. Next one is the tolerance ability to withstand. So they have the capacity to tolerate the particular climatic condition, harsh climatic conditions. Then next one is the psychological, reducing the water loss and taking up of more water when available. When the particular water source is available, that is near to that particular amphibians, they are going to take the more water and can reduce the water loss if that particular water is not available. Okay, the main organ involved is the skin. The main organ example, tremendous species. Tritrax, okay. Tutaris species. Main organ is involved in that transpiration is nothing but the skin. The storage in the urinary bladder and the reabsorb the water during the dehydration and the agitation. This adaptation is observed in the desert amphibians, which shows the burrowing adaptations. So burrowing adaptation is nothing but that particular animals can make the burrows in that soil and it can enter into the layers of the earth. It can be some give the some cool, okay, when compared to the outer surface. Then what are the urinary bladder? What is the urine which is stored? The part, that particular part is called as the urinary bladder. The particular urinary bladder have the some amount of water. When the body can be dehydrated, the body is ready to use that urinated water. So what is the water which is present in the urinary bladder? Okay. So then coming to the next point, the rate of functioning of kidney is reduced. So the working capacity and functioning capacity of the kidney will be reduced and the water loss through the kidney is minimized. So the formation of the urine also a minimized. Formation of the urine also a minimized. Okay. Nets is a live several miles away from the water resources and undergoes a agitation in that in underground burrows. They got a very low rate of water loss. The traded species shows the highest degree of a terrestrial adaptation among the amphibians. Demanded is a species, one of the most important species. It can show the highest degree of terrestrial adaptation among that when compared to the what are the arthropods and what are the amphibians we discussed now. Okay. Tetraxis takes a higher amount of water from the atmosphere from the dehydration than that of a salamander under the conditions. It can balance the under conditions. The next one is the hormonal control of water taking. So we can control the we can control our hormones to decrease the water intake, not humans. It is the most important adoption in the desert regions. Okay, desert animals. The one scientist in the 1973 named as Cloudy Thompson. Cloudy Thompson in 1973 reported that the extract of a neurohypological gland and their hormones stimulate the water absorption. The particular gland um, hormones can stimulate the water absorption both in vitro and in vivo. So both intake and uptake. So they act on the skin and facilitate the water passage where the kidney is has to anti-diuretic effect enhance the water absorption. In general, most of the amphibians are exposed to 200 centimeter 200 centimeter by minimum and 4000 centimeter minimum speed of a dry air. So every amphibian is exposed to 200 centimeter by minute, 200 centimeter by minute or 4000 centimeter by dry air. This is causes a lot of dehydration and the animals adapt for this dry condition. So that's why the animals in the desert region have some glands to secrete the some hormones. That particular hormones can stimulate the water absorption, intake and the water loss from our body. Okay, water loss from our body. This is all about that biological response to osmotic conditions. Okay, then coming to the next one, how that reptiles, can um, adapt to the desert conditions, how that reptiles can change their body to control the water loss. Now we discussed water and salt balance in the desert lizards. In the desert lizard, how that particular deserts can manage the body temperature and the mineral storage in that harsh climate. There are a number of lizards which have a remarkable property of tolerating the without water for the longer periods. Without taking of the water for longer periods, the lizards can survive. The particular lizards have the capacity to tolerate that much of heat and water loss in that desert conditions. How that particular deserts is have the capacity means now we discussed. They take only a dietary and a metabolic water and survive. They only take the dietary and metabolic water. What is dietary or metabolic? Just see. The following are the few desert lizards which show the adaptants which show adaptations and regulations to desert conditions. So, some lizard names here I mentioned. These are the some important desert deserts which are present. Lizards which are present in the desert can show the good adaptation in that particular harsh climate. Okay, Disporus dorsilla, Disporus desert igma remains without water and takes only a metabolic water. Nasal salt gland is present. So one scientific name of this lizard is nothing but Disporus dorsalis. Disporus dorsalis. Okay, in desert igna, the particular lizard is a type of a lizard. One, it is a it remains without water. It remains taken without water and it takes only a metabolic water. It takes only a metabolic water. What is metabolic water means? Now we are just we discuss in few minutes. Just wait. A particular desert igna having a nasal gland is present. In that particular nasal, one gland is present. That is a very helpful that particular lizard. Next one is a cermanal species, a check walls. A check walls is the common, are found on hot American desert and there is no access to water. So this particular animal, there is no access in our body to take the water. It stores the water in granular lymph sacs and uses the extracellular water, and it can use the water which is present in our body in the extracellular forms. Okay. Amphibious ornamentus they drinks only when water is available. This is also one type of leather. It drinks the water when water is available. If not available, it cannot be drink. Okay. Then next one is uh, Phasmera amchella and never drinks in field. It cannot drinks the water in the field. These are the four important lizards which is present in the desert region. It can show the most important and